community. To me, it was very clear from day one when I got here, as I was going through the organization and the different departments, that what really jumped out to me was how active the community relations department was, and I'd heard how well it's thought of. And to me, to do events like this is outstanding, especially this time of year. Get them in, get them out of the snow, have some fun. The Play 60 program, I think, is outstanding. Anytime that you can make an investment in our sport and plant seeds for the future, I think it can be a tremendous thing.
Hey Mike, how many hours are you spending in the building every day?
Don't have much else to do. And I actually live walking distance, so it's I'm probably averaging 16 to 18.
Does it feel like it's hard to catch up on all the stuff that needs to get done?
At first it did. It was overwhelming. It was like trying to take a sip of water out of a fire hose. But I feel now that it's slowed down some to the point where it's manageable. I think the support staff here has been tremendous. How well the staff has come in, and just all this stuff as far as the relocation and the moving, those obstacles being taken out of our way, so guys can concentrate on football. I think it's such a credit to the organization that people jumped up right away and have been helpful right from day one. So it's almost embarrassing how much help is there available. I always have to tell them, hey, I can do that for myself, but. It's been tremendous, and I think it's starting to slow down. And I think we've had a series of meetings the last few days, and have really honed in on a strategy moving forward, short term and long term.
Mike,
was it a shock, a surprise? Obviously, it's a pretty significant shakeup.
It was nothing that was talked about during the interview process. But it was a clear message from the owner of his commitment to bringing stability to the franchise looking forward. And I just look forward to working with Ray Farmer. He and I can already tell we're going to have a tremendous relationship. From the moment that I met him, I think it was very natural, our conversations, our philosophy about football, the draft, free agency, how to build a team. So I think it's he and I are going to be, and he's used the term, in lockstep from here on out. And I think it was the fact that he wasn't in on the interview process. I think was a little bit overblown. I know he was involved from afar, but from the moment I met him, like I said, we've clicked, and I'm looking forward to a long and successful relationship with him.
How offsetting was it, Coach? Because you heard things were unstable here, and you just got here. Something happened.
Again, I think it shows a commitment by the owner that he realized that there were some issues, and he wanted to make things right. As controversial as it was, and shocking as it was, I think that he's a believer, and he wasn't going to let things stay the way they were, and it was a move he decided to make, and we're full speed ahead.
When you meet with Ray, how do you tell that you guys look at football the same way?
Well, we actually went into a meeting where we just had a variety of topics pertaining to football, and each of us kind of alternated giving our opinions on how we felt about certain things, and we were there wasn't anything where we were very far apart on. I think we have very similar philosophies on how things should be done. Again, all those topics that I talked about, whether it be the draft strategy, free agency, practice, building a roster, how do you handle the bottom of the roster. All those things, the franchise, just all those things that to me could come up. I think it's a very similar philosophy.
Hey, Mike, just in terms of the structure, now you'll be reporting directly to Jimmy Haslam instead of a CEO like Joe Banner. How do you feel about the structural change, and are you comfortable with the new organizational structure?
I'm very comfortable with it, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about Joe. I mean, I learned just in the short term, whether it's through the interview process and through the time here, very thankful to Joe. I don't know if I'd be here without him, and just that short period of time, just learned a lot about how to handle business in the National Football League, and a lot of his thoughts and philosophies on it. And I owe a lot of thanks to him. Mike Lombardi as well, tremendous evaluator of talent. It was bittersweet to not work with those guys, because again, I think we had bonded very quickly through the interview process and the time that we were here. But it was a move that was made that Mr. Haslam felt was in the best interest of the franchise, and that's where we are.
When you thought about being a head coach, did you spend a lot of time thinking about the relationship you have to have with your GM? Because obviously he's the guy that's going to pick the players you need to win.
You do, and ultimately I think we all realize that this is football. It's still like most business. It's a people business, and I think that you have to have people skills, that you have to be able to interact and get along in order to get things done. And I think the GM coach relationship has to be the best in the building, because if they're not on the same page, then not much is going to get done. So I think we've already gotten a great start to it. The individual sides of the ball have already gone down to the draft room, presented to Ray and his staff. These are the position attributes that we're looking for. This is what a Sam linebacker should look like in our system. This is what a center should look like in our system. A Y tight end, a Z receiver. So we gave the attributes, because it's a little more complicated than some other sports. This isn't baseball where we're all looking for a right-handed hitting shortstop. I mean, it's very scheme specific. We're going to have some flexibility that if we have an outstanding player, we can match what we do to take advantage of that. But in an ideal world, these are what our players look like, and kind of gave them some prototypes around the league, who on the roster looks like it, and then went ahead and prioritized the needs from there. So I think we're ahead of the game as far as sharing information to the personnel staff. I think if they have a very clear idea of what we're looking for as a coaching staff, that only makes us better, because they're not out there wasting time on players and presenting them to us that we feel are not a fit for what we do.
Coach, how much have you been able to look at Brian Hoyer yet on tape, and have your opinions and how changed Brian?
Well, my opinion hasn't changed. When we were preparing to play the Browns last year, I spent a lot of time studying him on tape coming off the games that he had played. It was unfortunate that it was our game where we got hurt, and I have a lot of respect for Brian. That he's a guy that I think his intangibles are tremendous. He's a great leader. He knows how to prepare. Came out of that system, learned from Tom Brady. I think his football acumen is off the chart, and you could tell there's certain quarterbacks you look for an it factor. You might not be able to necessarily describe what it is, but he has it.
How far along are you? You said after you got hired, you're gonna, once you got the coaching staff together, you take a look at the team and what's here and start grading out the roster. Where are you at in that process as far as grading?
Much better feel. We're further along now, and again, we're working on sharing that information back and forth with Ray and the rest of the personnel department, kind of getting a feel for who fits what slots, and then what the priorities would be as far as the plan in free agency and the plan in the draft.
Is there any angst or concern just because you're a first-time head coach and Ray's going to be a first-time GM heading into free agency and the draft?
I don't feel that way. I feel I have a lot of resources around the league, whether it was Rex, whether it was John Harbaugh I can reach out to, even though he's in the division. I think coaches have a certain code amongst each other that you put those rivalries aside. Chuck Pagano is somebody I'm going to lean heavily on. And then there's a lot of knowledge on I think, tremendous resources on the staff. So it's something I feel I've surrounded myself with some experienced guys, some young guys, some older guys, and I think Ray's doing the same. I think Ray has a lot of contacts around the league that he knows he can lean on. And again, it's such a fraternity that I think if there's any questions that need to get answered, just a phone call away.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.